Bum, bum, bum. It tells me we are live, so I will trust it. Hello, welcome to the Confidence Academy. This is TCA-Live, and I am back with Kat Ray from the Rising from the Illness podcast. Hey, Kat.
Hey.
Okay, right. I am just going to check that we're live so that we're not just fooling around in front of nobody, because that would just be a waste of entertaining. I don't even know what the word was I was going to use. Shenanigans. That's the word. Okay. Yay, look, we're live. And it always does subtitles. And I always think they're very off-putting. But anyway, whoops, I'm going to put us up there so that if anybody speaks to us, we do have a comments box. I don't know if you can see the comments on your end, Kat. But I have them on my end. We're obviously not going to have any comments yet. But I can see the comments here, and I've also got them up on Facebook as well. So we'll give it just a second in case people are going to come on live. But we are here to dive a little deeper into the subject around, well, the question we're asking this week is, how do you navigate unwanted change? And I just want to say hello to everybody that's listening on the podcast as well, because this is obviously going out as another podcast episode after this. So, well, Kat, our conversation was amazing. Our podcast conversation. It was so nice. And I think not only was it a great conversation, it was just so nice to catch up with you after so long.
I know.
We just needed a catch up. We thought, why don't we just publish it though? It was so nice. Now, I'm just going to point out, even though not everybody is watching this, some people will only be listening. Talk us through what you've got on, because I've spotted it. What's that on your hoodie?
I've got my new hoodie on.
Oh, she's got merch, you guys. Actual merch. I'm very jealous. Mine is not merch. My top just says paradise on it, which is all well and good. But, you know, it's not very on brand. The colours are not on brand. Nothing here is on brand. But you've got your own merch. So is this merchandise other people can buy, or is this exclusively for you as the host?
Well, I mean, I've not even thought about it, to be honest. Chris just decided to create something for me just to cheer me up. So he got the silhouette of me. So that's me.
Oh, I love it.
And he's got Rise Unafraid written on it, which is obviously a lyric from Rise Up.
Yes.
Which he knows I sing with Evo. So bless him. It was so cute. I absolutely love it. So a couple of people have been like, can I buy one? And I'm like, well, I guess you can. I'm going to have to chat with Chris.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
On it, because now I'm going to tell everybody listening, I want a hoodie that says Rise Unafraid. Don't we all need that in our lives? What an amazing message. I got a little bit choked up, actually, because you posted a picture and I was like, oh, yay, he's got her a hoodie. And, oh, yeah, that's the silhouette. I recognized that it was you because it's your pose from your podcast picture, isn't it? But then I was like, what does that say? Because I think I just expected it to say Rising from the Illness. So I wasn't prepared. And then I read it and I was like, oh, I love it. It's just so nice on so many levels. So poignant. So anyway, we are asking the question tonight, how do you navigate unwanted change? And the reason I went with that question was because, well, certainly the conversation that we had on your episode was very much about having to navigate unwanted change. And I know that so much of your story is about having to do that. And I think so often in our lives, we are considering change. People wonder whether they should leave relationships, jobs, leave their town, whatever. So we're constantly thinking in the back of our head, do I want to do that? Am I going to make that decision? But what happens when life makes the choice for you, and how do you navigate that? So that was the question that I wanted to ask. So I'm going to fire the question to you first, Kitty Cat, because you've actually done it and you continue to do it as well, because I know that, even though you now know what it is that you're dealing with, you have a diagnosis, that in so many ways that doesn't help you, because there are so many layers to what it is that you're living with. So how would you answer the question, how do you navigate unwanted change? Go.
It's very difficult. To be honest, it's a process. So when I was first diagnosed, it was kind of a bit of a relief that I actually had a kind of name to what I was going through. But at the time, it wasn't that bad. It was quite manageable. So I was kind of just floating through life and getting on with it. And yes, I did worry about the future and what might happen. But as I was talking to someone earlier, I wish I hadn't really done that, because like there was just no point worrying about what's inevitable. Like you've just got to go with it, roll with the punches. And, you know, I was just kind of living this life and managing it. And all of a sudden my life just went, like my illness and everything. And I was just in this place where I was like, I don't want this. I do not want this. And, you know, it is so difficult to get your head around the fact that your life isn't what it was, what you thought it was going to be. Your future isn't what you wanted it to be. And I think the main thing for me was just to roll with it, to not kind of, I got to the point where I wasn't even thinking about next month, next week, even tomorrow. I was just thinking about today. Like that was it, getting through it. And, you know, it's a massive, for me, it was a massive lifestyle change. It was just, everything was completely blown up. And I had it in my head that my life was over. But it wasn't over. Like I was still living. And I think the main thing for me was my niece, who was, I think maybe about 4 or 5 at the time. And she came to sit on my bed and she just asked me if I was going to go live on the stars with our other family members who'd passed away. And she just started crying and she just said, like, who else is going to teach all the kids to dance if you're not here?
Bless her.
And, you know, that I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm still here right now. You know, I'd lost my dad that previous year, and you know, he didn't want to die. He got this diagnosis and he died within a year. And that made me realize how precious life was, that actually I'm here right now. Like I just need to get on with it. And I know that sounds really like stupid to say, you know, oh, just get on with it, you'll be fine. But
yeah,
in that situation, if I hadn't have just given myself a bit of a talking to, I don't think I would have got through it. I really don't think. And I think it is all a lot about mindset as well. If I'd have given up at that point, I think my body would have given up as well. It is a powerful thing. And I think you just have to kind of, like I said, just take every day as it comes and take small steps and don't have any expectations. You know, everyone seems to think that you've got your life planned out ahead of you. And okay, you may have your life planned out the way you want to go, but you just need to be aware that that's probably not going to happen. Like you can still get there, but it is going to change and it's going to look different. So I think it's just that acceptance of, okay, this isn't going to happen anymore. My life is like this now, but that doesn't mean it's over. And it is really hard. It was really, really hard for me. I was about 28 at the time, and I was literally, like I said on the podcast, bedbound. You know, I couldn't go to the toilet on my own. I couldn't eat on my own. I couldn't do anything. And that is like the worst ever, to be kind of stuck in this body and in this life that you didn't want, that wasn't made for you.
Right.
And, you know, you start thinking like, why me? And it's like, well, you know, I was again having a chat earlier with someone and we were like, well, why not me? You know, it happens. It's just random. You've just got to accept it and take every day as it comes, and, you know, just embrace the change. Because at the time I was like, my life's over. I can't sing anymore. I can't dance anymore. My career's over. My business is over. Like, you know, everything's over. At the time, my marriage was over. I'd lost my driving license. I'd lost like everything. To me, my whole world was like,
yeah.
But now, you know, 3 years later, I've got my own podcast. I'm helping so many people. I've connected with some amazing people. And, you know, I'm on this amazing treatment now, which is really helping me have a normal life. So I could never have predicted that, you know, 3 years ago. If someone had said, well, actually, in 3 years, you'll be all right. You'll have an amazing boyfriend. You'll have a great life. You'll be buying a house. You know, you've literally just got to, if you're in that point and you're facing so much change, is just concentrate on day to day and just have faith that, you know, it's going to be all right. But I think if you mentally give up, then that's when you start to kind of really, really go downhill. And I mean, there was a point where I was like, nah, not doing this,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But it's just all about just fighting through it, and like I said, getting on with it. I know that sounds easy, and it's not easy, but you know, you just have to kind of have that faith and just keep, even if you're not working towards something in particular, it's just getting to, at one point it was getting to the end of the day and then waking up, and that's all it was.
Do you know, I think it raises a really big question, and I feel like it's a really amazing metaphor as well, because obviously your situation is extreme, like in every direction. It's like the most extreme. But actually, I think if you were to go out on the street and do a survey of people and they were honest, I think you would find a high percentage of people feeling in a similar way, not for a similar reason, but I think there must be so many people that feel like their life isn't worth anything, or that they like somehow their best years are behind them, whether that's because they've had a catastrophe like you, like everything's been taken away, or even if it isn't that, you know. I mean, if I look back now, what am I, 43? If I go back in my mind to when I was 19, my life's completely different as well. I don't have a lot of the things I had at 19 now, but I do have a lot of different things. And I think it raises a really important metaphor actually for everybody, that's just the advice for everybody. And you don't have to have gone through something huge or traumatic or, you know, front news page worthy to feel like that. And I think, you know, quite a lot of people probably feel like that and haven't even checked in with it. They don't even realize that isn't the way to be living your life, you know. And I think there are people with much less to worry about than you that probably would relate exactly to how you were feeling, because it's all relative anyway, isn't it? It's all relative. I also think it raises a really interesting question around the underlying message that is put across in so many self-development books, podcasts, you know, programs even, of this idea. And I wanted to ask you what your thoughts were on this, because I know when you came through my mindset breakthrough bootcamp program a couple of years ago now, a lot of those concepts were new. And I would love to know what you think, even now, when you hear somebody saying, like, you can have whatever you want, your life can be whatever you want, you can create, you know, what you see in your mind, you can hold in your hand, like all of these quotes, right? And I've definitely taught that stuff over the years. I think from a place of just desperately hoping it was true. And I think it's two-sided, because I still think that that's true. I think that mindset can be really helpful, and it's what's got you to where you are now, but not when you take it so literally. And I would just love to know, like, what do you think now? Even now, if you were just scrolling on your social media and you came across a live stream with somebody saying, oh, it doesn't matter what you're facing right now, you can literally have what you want, what would your reaction be to that now?
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, the universe has other plans, right?
I mean, yeah, I totally believe that you can have dreams and, you know, really aspire to be something, or, you know, do what you want to do, but you have to be realistic as well. I mean, if someone says to me, oh, you know, you will be running a marathon every week and you'll be doing this, that's not true, because I won't ever be able to do that. And that's not because I'm being negative. It's because realistically, medically, I've been told that I will deteriorate. So for someone to say to me, like, you will be whatever you want, you'll do whatever you want, it's like, well, I appreciate the message, and I love the positivity, and I always kind of reach for that, and I have my own goals, but within my limits and realistic. Because the thing is, if you never get there, then you're always going to be disappointed. You know, it's going to be years down the line, and I'll be like, well, you know, this dude told me that I'll be doing what I want and I'll be running marathons, and I still can't walk to the end of the street. You know,
where's my marathon?
Exactly. But back, you know, 3 years ago, I was basically in a wheelchair pretty much all the time. I didn't know when I'd be walking again or what I'd be able to do. And now I've got like my walking sticks, my walker, and, you know, it's like little steps. And that was my aspiration. Like I said to you, my goal was I wanted to walk my dog without struggling.
Yeah.
And you said, well, take out the struggling bit. You just want to walk your dog. Don't matter if you struggle. The fact is you're doing it.
Let's have the struggle first. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So they're like my little goals. I'm like, this is what I want to achieve, but I'd never put pressure on myself, because realistically there's things like that you can't change. It's like I said, it's not me being negative. It's literally just that's the facts. I will be positive and I will keep going, but the fact is this illness will never be cured.
Yeah.
That's just it. It's just something in my body that will never change. But I can still have aspirations and still kind of dream. It's just I'm not going to be dreaming unrealistically.
Yeah.
Because
I was just going to say, my view of that whole statement has changed over the years. I think the first time I heard it, I was like, awesome, great, I want to learn this, right? And there's still a part of me, I'm so interested in how our beliefs govern what we do and what we allow ourselves to receive. And there is still a part of me that wonders if everyone around you had said, well, it's a rare thing and this is the results we've got so far, but we still think that that's possible. A little part of me does wonder how that might affect somebody moving forward, right? And whether that's a physical illness or a mental illness or whatever. I've had conversations like this with friends of mine as well that are diagnosed with things like anxiety, depression, bipolar, OCD, those kinds of things. And I'm still so interested to know, and I don't know, but I would be so interested to see some sort of study that showed how, like, take two people with OCD, take one that is constantly told they've got OCD and what it means and what they can do and what they can't do, and then take the other one that has OCD but doesn't know they have OCD and is just given every opportunity to thrive. I would be so interested to see how their experience would differ, because I think it's like anything else, isn't it? If you take it too literally, then no, it doesn't mean that. There are people with all kinds of things, whether mental health, physical health, or whatever. And so for those people, no, you're probably not going to run a marathon, and you're probably not going to, I'm never going to be, I don't know, I'm never going to be a Swedish person living in Atlanta, right? Because I'm just not Swedish, right? But a part of me thinks that message got twisted somewhere along the way. In fact, I definitely know that it did. And I think this is the case when anything, like mystical and ancient, because so many of those teachings are rooted in ancient teachings and ancient beliefs. You can go back thousands of years and find people still talking about the same thing, but it gets twisted when it gets modernized and brought into the Western world. And it's like we take a little pinch of what they were doing and go, let's blow this up and tell everyone that they can have what they want. Here's what I think about it. First of all, I think we can have our goals. You said it earlier. You said you never know what your journey will look like. And I would be willing to bet that back before you were diagnosed, you had your goals, right? That probably looked like, I want to be a singer. I want to have a business around that. I want to be touring, possibly. I'd like to be married, like all of that. You'd have a whole list of things, right? We all have our lists. I think if we dug underneath those things to get to what that represented, that is what is still available to you, right? It's not, and to me, most people just want freedom. They just want the freedom to live their life the best way they possibly can. And this is what I think you are the walking, talking epitome of now. You are living your life the best way you can. It's not that you're not writing a book saying, they told me I'd never walk and they told me I'd never shit myself. And now I've learned not to do that, right? Those things happen. And, because on top of that, we have our human journey that we're on. I believe some of that is mapped out. We're just meant to have this experience that we're having. And I remember saying this to you, and this is what I want people to really get from this conversation. It's the, and you said it as well, it's the distress when we think we've missed out on something. Like, that was my life and I was supposed to do this, and this. No, maybe you weren't. maybe you, and I'm not even going to use the word maybe, I'm absolutely certain of it, that you are some kind of earth angel and you've been sent for this important mission. You had to have your life the way it was because it's the only way that you were going to reach people. It was the only way that people were going to listen to you. It's the only way that you could help, because now you've walked it, right? Or maybe walk is the wrong thing. You've rolled it in your wheelchair. And to anyone listening, we do know each other. I'm not being an asshole. Like Kat, this is how Kat rolls for sure. It's how she rolls. Yeah, Kat requested Proud Mary at one of my gigs just so that she could roll around like a maniac on the dance floor. Like, that's what we're dealing with here. But I think I think people are getting it twisted. I think when people talk about law of attraction and, creating what they want, they're talking about the physical manifestation of what that looks like, right? The tangible things and the tangible path. And that isn't what it was ever about. It's about the end goal. And I think all of us in some way, shape or form we want to experience happiness. We want to experience freedom. We want to feel like our life counted for something, right? I mean, I feel like that. I just think it doesn't really matter how. I just want to know that when I lay my head down and it's, and I take my last breath, I want to know that I made some kind of difference on the planet, right? That me being here counted for something. I think there's a great Beyonce song called I Was Here, which is all about that, right? You just want to know that you left your footprint. And so in that respect, nothing has changed, and I think what you want now is probably what you wanted back then. It was just through the lens of life that you had at that time, you thought, oh, that would be the best way for that to come about. And I'm not saying that if a fairy godmother floated down and said, oh, I can wave my magic wand and you can go back to singing and touring. Like, I'm not saying you wouldn't jump at the chance, right? I'm sure that you would. However, with everything you've got now, it is an interesting question. If a fairy godmother came down and waved her wand and said, I can put you back to the age of 23 with everything you had, and I can erase everything that happened since, and you can do it again. I think that's a really interesting question. Would you choose to wave the wand and undo it all? Or would you choose your life as it is now?
No, I'd choose my life now.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin now. I know who I am. I know that I've got this. I can handle this. I'm so much more me than I ever have been. I think before everything happened, I was kind of just like floating around in my bubble and, doing what I thought made me happy. And I was kind of caught up in just the stresses of life. And I think the past sort of 7-8 years, especially the past 3 years, has really taught me like what's important, how strong I actually am, and, what I actually want. And it's very different. There's no way I'd go back now and, like erase the last however many years. It's because I am who I am today because of those years that I've been through. So there's no way I'll go back.
And that's how I feel as well. And I think that is such a powerful question for anyone that's listening to this, that is maybe in that headspace of, where I'm at now feels way harder. And I think as we get older, it can feel like that anyway. When you're an adult in your 30s or 40s and you're thinking back to when you were a kid, then it can suck balls. Like even my 8-year-old said to me the other day, it was like, Mummy, I don't want to be a grown up. It looks really hard. And I was like, oh yeah, it is. It is really hard, but it's so brilliant. And I think it's really easy for us to get stuck in the past. It's really easy for us to think, I just wish I could go back to that. But I think if you just asked yourself that question that we just asked, would you be willing to give up everything that you've gained since then? Because I think it's so easy, isn't it, to focus on what isn't going well and to focus on the negative. We are not very good at, well, I'll speak for myself. I'm not very good at focusing on everything brilliant. I will always just look at what needs to be changed, what needs to be made better. Like, where do I need to get to next? Would you be willing to sacrifice everything you've got now? That could potentially mean not having the partner that you have now, not having the kids that you have now, not having the job that you have now, or the money, or the house, or the friendships. And like you said it, you know, even just the life wisdom. And what I love about that is, you know, what are you now, in your 30? In fact, you are 30, aren't you?
30, yeah.
Yeah, so you're 30 now. And I mean, what you've had to go through in your short life so far is immense compared to what a lot of people have to live through. And yet what I love is your answer is exactly the same as probably most people's. It actually doesn't matter that you went through everything you went through. At the end of it, you still feel better off for where you are now, because you can appreciate everything you've got now, everything you are now. And I would encourage anybody listening to ask yourself that same question. Would you truly want to go back to that time that you keep harping back to, if it meant you had to sacrifice everything that's been great in your life since? Because life is always both, isn't it? We always get both. You know, you can have a real shit show, but there's always something beautiful that comes with it as well. Would you be willing to sacrifice all of the beautiful stuff just to get back to where you were? Because I wouldn't either. I wouldn't do it either. And there, you know, there are challenges, there are hard times, and we all get them as humans, and it is all relative. Like I said this earlier, something that I struggled with, I suppose, for a while was looking back at my life, thinking to myself, how can I do this job that I want to do? Because my life hasn't actually been that eventful. You know, I haven't really had a challenge, and I have had challenges, but I would look at someone like you with your story and be like, God, I have no right to feel any of my anxiety, stress, depression, any of it, because it doesn't even come close. And actually, I mean, yeah, we can definitely have empathy for other people. You don't want to be an asshole going around going, oh, it was like when we did our chat and I'm moaning that I've got a cold and you were going, oh, are you all right to do it? And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, yeah, I think I'm all right, Kat. You know, like, you're willing to get through the interview. If you can do the interview, I can jolly well do the interview as well. But, you know, I think I hear this a lot. I hear people a lot not giving themselves permission to feel how they feel, because they can appreciate there's someone worse off. But again, everyone can do that. Even Kat could find someone worse off than her. I mean, I think it would be a challenge, but, you know, in certain situations. However, it's all relative. We can always find someone worse off than us, someone better off than us. We can always find someone who's better at something than we are, worse at something than we are. It goes in all directions, up, down, left, right. None of that means anything. And so many of us, I think, put so much emphasis on all of that, when what we want to do is exactly what you said: come back to us, and even just come back to the moment. That's brilliant advice. Whatever you're navigating, whatever you're going through, no matter how dramatic or not you think it might be, that advice Kat dropped at the start is all you need to know, because this moment is all we've got anyway. You can't get the past back. We don't know what the future looks like. We really don't. And I think, you know, having a life plan is a bit like writing a birth plan. It's not worth the paper it's written on. You know, when I had my first baby, they were like, and they make a big thing of it as well. They're like, come in, we're going to do the birth plan. And it's like, oh, lovely. And they were like, do you want incense burning? Yeah, I want some of that. Calming music. Yeah, I'd love some of that. Oh, how about this? How about that? Yeah, write it all down. None of it happened. Not one bit of it. And then when I had my second baby, they were like, what do you want in your birth plan? I was like, I don't know. I suppose a water birth might be nice. I'm not going to plan anything else because I know it won't happen. So all I wrote down was water birth. Did I get a water birth? Did I fuck? Because there was another plan, right? So there was still no water birth. So by the time I had Sophia, they were like, what's your birth plan? I'm like, try and get us both out of it alive if you can. But like, even that's not a given. Do you know what I mean? Like, just write a massive question mark on the page. Like, whatever, use it for toilet paper, because no one's going to read it anyway. It doesn't mean, it's a complete waste of time. And I think it's the same. I think it's the same for having a life plan. And that sounds cynical. I'm not saying we shouldn't have goals. I'm saying we should have goals, but we need to surrender the how, and we need to surrender what it looks like, right? Because I think everything you ever could have hoped that you would be as a singer, you are that and more, because you're still a singer, and now you're a podcast host as well, and you are the voice for chronic illness warriors all over the world who need to hear the story of Kat Ray from Salisbury, who's done everything that she's done, because it gives them hope, right? I mean, when you were like on your journey, I'm not even going to say when, because you're still on it now, but how important is it for you to hear other people's stories? How inspiring do you find it when you read somebody else's account or hear them speak on a podcast? Like, what effect does that have on you on your own journey?
Oh, massively. It's massive, and it's so nice to talk to people, like you were saying. You know, we're all going through different things, and some people's symptoms are worse than others. But you know, I've had people kind of speak to me and ask me for advice, and then say, "Oh, I feel really stupid talking to you because you've got so much." And I always say, like, stop right there. Don't even go any further, because every single one of us have struggles and a journey, and it doesn't matter where we are in that journey or what struggles we're facing. We're all going through it, and that's what we're all here for, together. So even, you know, just speaking to someone who has got, I don't know, like eczema or skin condition, I have so many symptoms that speaking to different people with different symptoms, or even conditions that I don't understand or have, it's just really nice to hear people's stories and hear how they get through it. And you know, today I was speaking to an amazing woman who's got MS, and she's had it for, I think she said like 18 years or something. She was diagnosed really young, and she was basically telling me how she runs, and even though she really can't run because of how bad her MS is, there's proof that exercise helps. So she pushes and she does it. And I was thinking, this is amazing. Like, you know, sometimes when I'm thinking, oh, I don't even want to try walking down the street today, and she's going, I really feel like this, but I know it's going to help me, so I push. And I'm like, oh, do you know what? I need to try that. You know, it's just, you learn so much from different people's conditions. And even if it's a condition that you don't have or you've never heard of, it's very likely that you will be in similar positions at some point, and you will go through similar things. But we had an amazing chat just about how she, like, things that she does like Tai Chi, and she does gardening, and just, you know, things that she'd never have done before, but now it's just part of her life because of how her life's changed. So it's amazing. It's so inspiring for me to meet people. And some stories that I speak to on the podcast, and then I come off and I speak to Chris about it, and I'm just so like, I don't understand. This is amazing. Like, this person's amazing. And even like the lady who makes my cool walking sticks, like after I spoke to her, that literally blew my mind. She's like an above leg amputee, and she performed at the Paralympic closing ceremony with Coldplay.
Oh, wow.
And she was like hanging off a trapeze that was hanging from a motorbike that was on a zip wire, going across the crowd and the stage, with one leg. And
no way.
I mean, I was just like, you are absolutely incredible. The people that I've met in the last year through the podcast is just amazing. And it really gives me that sense of, like, you know, hope, even for me. And I'm the one who's always shouting about, you know, focus on my weekly wins. Every week I make sure that I share the wins for the week and all these positives. But even me, who tries to advocate that, to hear it from someone else gives me so much hope. And, you know, it's just the people that I've spoken to is amazing. So yeah, it's a massive impact on me to speak to the people that I speak to on the podcast. They're just incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel the same way about the people that come on my podcast as well. Like, and I must say this multiple times a week, human beings are amazing. Like, we are so incredible. You know, I just think, like, the things that we can do, the things we can make our bodies do, like even watching something like Britain's Got Talent blows my mind when I can see what people can do. It's like, wow, you know, and then we fall into a thing of, oh, I can't change that because that's just how I am. Like, no, like if somebody can, I don't know, flip on their head and balance on their nose, on the nose of someone else that's holding them up from the floor, like in an acrobat act, then like I'm sure that you can probably do a bit better with money, or like feel a bit better about relationships or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like we are surrounded by proof that we are limitless in so many ways. And actually being limitless, it doesn't mean, you know, going back to what we were saying before, we have to drop the expectation of what we think that looks like, right? We don't all have to have all our limbs. We don't all have to have all our faculties, even. We don't have to have anything. All we have to have is a faith that our life counts for something and that we're incredible. And every single one of us is. And I just think, you know, this is why I love podcasts and this whole rise of conversations, because you can just go into, you know, your podcast app on your phone, pretty much any industry in the world, any conversation in the world, you can probably find it on a podcast. And I love that you said, you know, it's about rising together. And as you were saying it, I just thought, you know, let's put that together with the slogan on your top: rise together unafraid. How powerful would we be in this world if everybody knew that they were shoulder to shoulder? Nobody's better than anybody. Nobody is above anybody else. Nobody's ahead. Nobody got tainted with a golden brush like when they came down here. None of that's real. We're shoulder to shoulder. We all count. We all matter. We are equal. I truly believe that that is what we're heading for. And I think there's so much like polarity in the world, right? At the moment, so many people fighting and at each other's throats. And it's every time I read something like that, like even today in a spiritual Facebook group, no less, somebody put a comment about something they didn't like. And then there were 350 comments underneath, and they were all just being assholes to each other. And really quickly, you lost the point of what the person had posted about in the first place. And it was like, Jesus Christ, this is supposed to be a love and light place. And you're all assholes, all of you, because nobody was taking responsibility for their own experience. There was so much, oh, it's your fault, and you said this, and this is that, and now this is why, like, the whole of America is like it is, and this is why the world's in. I was just like, wow, you know, we've all just got to take responsibility for our own path, know that we're equal. I think if everybody knew they were equal, then we wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have that thing where you think you can talk shit to somebody else just because they think something different to you or whatever. You know, and so in that regard, I guess it feels like quite a hefty task that we're here to do. But I think that's what podcasts like yours are doing for the world. It's leveling the playing field, and it's going, let's talk about these situations, because not only does it help the people listening, I know for a fact your podcast lights you up as well. Like, you love it, don't you?
Absolutely.
You just absolutely love it. Yeah. And I love mine too. I love doing this. You know, I've been out at the zoo all day with my family today. We came back. I'm in pajama bottoms. You guys, I mean, if you're watching live, you can see I've got my nice blue jumper on, and then we've got polka dot pajama bottoms, right? So I'm all ready for bed, really, apart from the top half. But there isn't many jobs that I would be excited to come and do, having been out the whole day, having vegged out with my curry. But I could not wait to have this conversation. And especially because it's you, it especially doesn't feel like work tonight. But I think, you know, this is available to all of us. And I think it really, truly doesn't matter. At the risk of sounding like one of those, you know, one of those law of attraction people that I was talking about earlier, at the risk of sounding like that, there really isn't anything that you can't do. You've just got to let go of how you think it might look. And so, you know, when we're faced with something that really shakes us off path, it's natural. First of all, it's completely natural to grieve the life that you thought you had. It's completely natural to grieve the life that you wanted. It's completely natural to keep going back to that. I'm sure you have times, Kat, where it's not so easy to say all the things you said tonight. If you're having a down day, it's probably not so easy to go, oh, I love my life now. Like, there are probably days where you're like, oh, I'd give anything just to go back, right?
Yeah.
And we all feel like that, right? And it's natural and it's okay. And I think that's the first thing. We all have to know that it's okay to feel like that, and you have to honor those feelings. But then it's just remembering that the path was never given. It was never guaranteed anyway. Like, this is what I love about the humans. Like, you know, we all get so like emotionally upset, like, oh, it's not what I thought. Like, right, but where's the piece of paper that promised that was how your life was going to look, right? Where's the guarantee? Because I didn't see one. Like, you know, every breath you take is a blessing. Yeah. And I'm not saying you can get there in every moment, but knowing that that's available sometimes is enough. So I hope that anybody listening to this has been reminded that as long as you're living and breathing on earth, I believe your best days are still ahead of you. I truly believe that. I remember having that conversation with you, Kat, ages ago now. Like, you know, I had that conversation with my 94-year-old nanny when she'd hurt herself, she'd fallen down the stairs, she'd got put in the hospital, she was depressed. She just kept saying, why aren't I dead yet? Why am I still here? And I'm like, because there's a reason, you know, you don't go till it's time. And it was amazing, actually, because I actually believe that a lot of the reason she stayed was for me, because she taught me so much in the last couple of years of her life. Look out, Sophia's live on the live stream. I learned you've definitely pooed. Have you made a poo stink? No, you can't go to sleep if you've done a poo piece. We knew someone was going to poop on this live stream, and it was you, Sophia. You won the jackpot. Baby, you can't because you've done a poopsie. Yeah. But yeah, I honestly believe, you know, the last few years of my nan's life, there were multiple reasons why it wasn't her time yet, but a huge part of that, I think, were the lessons she taught me and everything that came out of me spending that time with her. Like the amount of epiphanies that I would have after hanging out with her for a morning or whatever, you know. And I just remember saying that to her, you know, God's not done with you yet. If you're not dead, there's a reason. So you just need to let go of that. You know, your time's going to come. You're 94. Like, you know, you haven't got to worry about that. It's coming. But if he didn't take you yet, I mean, there's not many 94-year-olds that are going to fall down the stairs, crack a hip, catch pneumonia whilst in hospital, and then survive to come home, you know. Like, God had plenty of opportunities to take you and he didn't. So there's a reason for that. I really believe that. Oh my God, Kat, it's been so amazing. And we're going to wrap up because I said half an hour. It's been 45 minutes. And I know that even doing something like this can be really, really exhausting in terms of energy output. But thank you so much for coming back on. Just let everybody know, in case nobody heard the other episode yet, let people know again the name of your podcast and where they can go and find it if they want to listen.
It's called Rising from the Illness. You can find me on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. I've got my podcast website as well. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. I'm on everything.
She's everywhere, you guys. And if you guys want a Rising from the Illness hoodie, you'll just have to watch this space and see if Chris decides that he wants to make a bulk order or something. Yeah. But yeah, I tell you what, if you want one, let Kat know. Like, we'll see. Maybe it'll be a demand and supply kind of thing. But there it is again. Rise Unafraid. Oh, I love it. Well, I definitely want one. So put me on the list for sure. And so to everybody watching and listening, thank you for being here again. I'm going to be back next week for another TCA Live. We've got another new episode dropping on Monday. So make sure that you are subscribed to get hold of that. And please make sure you subscribe to Rising from the Illness. I said it on the other episode and I'm going to say it again. I don't care. Even if you don't think it's for you, please go and subscribe and like it anyway, because the more people that do that, the more people it gets in front of that possibly do need that message. But you know what? I think even if you don't consider yourself to have a chronic illness, so many gems get dropped on that show that it truly is for anyone that feels called to it. I don't think you have to have a chronic illness to get something from that podcast. I love listening to it. And, you know, Kat does her wins every week. It's segmented up. You get to hear the beautiful Izzy Grace singing. You know, I sing along with it now. It's a proper jingle. I literally sing along every week. And it's just really great to hear. And obviously you have amazing guests. So do you know who's coming up on your next episode, Kat? Give them a little taster in case they want to check it out.
Yeah, so on Monday we have a lady called Fiona, and she is talking about her life living with autism. She was diagnosed at the age of, I think, 8. I want to say 8. Something like that, or maybe she had a few other things diagnosed a little bit later on, and then she discovered why, and it's because some sort of genetic error in her genes. It's very interesting. But yeah, she basically goes through her story about her life living with autism, how she was kind of, you know, left out of things and treated differently, how she used drama as an outlet. And yeah, it's actually really interesting, and she's got quite a lot of good tips and things. So yeah, it's really cool. That's Fiona on Monday, all about autism.
Perfect. Oh, I love it. So go and check that out. Go and check it out on Instagram. You always post up, don't you, every week when the new episode's out. So yeah, get yourself subscribed. Please share the word. Help Kat spread the word far and wide across the globe. We want everyone to know about this podcast. And join us back here again for another conversation next week. Kat, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been so nice. And remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it, guys. I will see you soon. Lots of love. Mwah!